Commander Jiwon Park stood in the control room of Luna Station, watching the stars through the large windows. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago, but he kept holding it anyway. It was 3 in the morning, ship time, and most of the crew was sleeping. He liked these quiet hours when he could think without interruption. The alarm broke the silence like a hammer hitting glass. Red lights flashed across every screen in the room. Jiwon dropped his cup and ran to the main control panel. The coffee splashed across the metal floor, but he did not notice. "What is it?" he called out to the night shift officer. Hyunwoo Kim looked up from his station, his face pale in the red light. "Sir, we have a ship coming toward us. A big one." "From where?" "Deep space, sir. Beyond the outer markers." Hyunwoo's fingers moved quickly over his controls. "Sir, this is strange. The ship is sending Earth codes." Jiwon felt his heart beat faster. "Earth codes? Are you sure?" "Yes, sir. The computer says it is the UES Horizon." The name hit Jiwon like a punch to the stomach. He knew that name. Every officer in the Earth Defense Force knew that name. The UES Horizon had disappeared 15 years ago. It had been carrying a crew of 12 on a simple mining trip to the Kepler system. One day the ship just stopped sending messages. Search teams found nothing. No wreckage, no distress signals, no trace at all. "Run the check again," Jiwon said. His voice sounded strange to his own ears. Hyunwoo worked at his console for several minutes. The red lights kept flashing, making everything look like a nightmare. "Sir, the quantum signature matches. It really is the Horizon." Jiwon stared at the main screen. A small dot of light was getting bigger, moving toward Luna Station. "How far out are they?" 6 hours at current speed, sir. Wake up the senior staff. All of them. Now." As Hyunwoo sent the wake-up calls, Jiwon tried to make sense of what was happening. Ships did not just come back after 15 years, especially not from systems where no one had heard from them. The Kepler system was dangerous, full of radiation and space storms. Most people thought the Horizon had been destroyed by some natural disaster. The senior staff arrived quickly. Dr. Seunghwan-oh came first, still wearing his sleeping clothes. Then came Tae-hyung Jang, the security chief, fully dressed and alert. Others followed until the control room was full of tired but worried faces. "Tell them what you told me," Jiwon said to Hyunwoo. The communications officer repeated his report. The room fell silent when he finished. Everyone knew the story of the Horizon. Some of the older officers had known crew members on that ship. "It could be a trick," Tae-hyung said. "Someone using the Horizon's codes." "The quantum signature cannot be faked," Dr. Oh replied. "Each ship has a unique pattern, like fingerprints for humans." "Then how do you explain a ship coming back after 15 years? Tae-hyung asked. Dr. Oh had no answer for that. The hours passed slowly. The dot of light on the screen grew larger and more detailed. Soon they could see the shape of the ship. It looked like the Horizon, but something was different. The hull seemed to shine with its own light. The metal looked smooth and perfect, not like the scratched and dented surface of an old mining ship. "Sir," Hyunwoo said, "they are trying to contact us. Put them through." The main screen flickered, then showed the face of a man. He was thin and tired-looking, with dark circles under his eyes. But Jiwon recognized him from the old crew photos. "Luna, Station. This is Captain Minho Lee of the UES Horizon. We request immediate docking. We have injured crew members who need medical help." Jiwon stepped forward. "Captain Lee, this is Commander Park. Where have you been for the last 15 years? Minho. Lee's face showed pain and fear. "Commander, that is a long story. Right now, my people need help. Please let us dock." "How many crew members do you have?" 12, sir. The same 12 who left Earth 15 years ago. That was impossible. Even if the crew had somehow survived all this time, they should look much older. Captain Lee looked almost the same as in his old photos. "Sir," Dr. O whispered, "look at the ship." Jiwan looked at the detailed scanner readings. The horizon was definitely bigger than before. Strange metal growths covered parts of the hull. Energy readings showed power levels that should have been impossible for a mining ship. "Captain Lee," Jiwan said, "your ship shows some unusual modifications." "Yes, sir. We will explain everything once we dock. But please, we are running out of time." Running out of time for what? Minho Lee looked over his shoulder as if something was chasing him. "They might follow us, sir. We need to get inside your shields." "Who might follow you?" "The ones who found us, sir. The ones who changed us." The transmission ended suddenly. The screen went black. "Are they still there?" Jiwan asked. Hyunwoo checked his instruments. "Yes, sir. Still coming toward us." Jiwan made his decision. "Clear docking bay 3. Set up a medical team. And Taehyung, I want security teams ready." "Yes, sir," the security chief replied. "How many teams?" "All of them." As the strange, shining ship came closer to Luna Station, Jiwan could not shake the feeling that everything was about to change. The horizon had been gone for 15 years, and now it was back with technology that should not exist. Captain Lee had mentioned others, ones who might follow. The ship was beautiful and terrible at the same time. It moved through space like a living thing, smooth and graceful. Sometimes it seemed to flicker, as if it was not completely there. "Sir," Hyunwoo said, "the energy readings are getting stronger. Whatever is powering that ship, it is not anything we have seen before." "How long until they dock?" 20 minutes, sir." Jiwan nodded. In 20 minutes they would have answers, or they would have more questions than they could handle. He looked out at the approaching ship and wondered what secrets it carried. What had happened to the crew in those 15 lost years? And who were the mysterious ones that Captain Lee seemed so afraid of? The horizon grew larger on the screen, its strange hull gleaming like liquid metal. Soon, very soon, they would know the truth. The docking bay doors sealed shut with a loud clang. The UES Horizon sat in the middle of the bay like a sleeping giant. Up close, the ship looked even stranger than it had on the screens. The hull seemed to move slightly, as if it was breathing. Strange patterns of light ran across its surface like veins. Captain Minho Lee and his crew walked down the exit ramp slowly. They all looked tired and scared, but they were alive. Jiwan counted 12 people, just as the captain had said. "Doctor." Seung-hwan Oh stepped forward with his medical team. "Everyone needs to go through health checks," Dr. Oh said. "It is just a safety rule." Captain Lee nodded. "We understand, Doctor. But please, we need to talk to your commander first. What we have to tell you cannot wait." Jiwan looked at the crew. Members. They seemed normal, but something felt different about them. They moved too smoothly, too quietly. Their eyes seemed to see everything at once. "The medical checks first," Jiwan said. "Then we talk." The crew was taken to the medical bay. Jiwan watched through the glass windows as Dr. Oh ran his tests. After an hour, the doctor came out looking confused and worried. "Commander," Dr. Oh said, "you need to see this." They went to the doctor's office. On his computer screen were the test results. Jiwan did not understand most of the medical words, but he could see that the numbers were all wrong. "These people should be dead," Dr. O said. "Look at this. Their blood has things in it that do not exist in nature. Their bones are stronger than steel. Their brains show activity levels that should cause immediate death. But they seem fine," Jiwan said. "Better than fine. They are perfect. Too perfect. Their bodies have been changed by something." "Changed how?" "I do not know. But whoever did this to them knows more about human biology than we do." Jiwan felt cold. "Are they still human?" Dr. O was quiet for a long moment. "I think so. but they are not the same humans who left Earth 15 years ago. An hour later, Ji-won sat across from Captain Lee in the station's main meeting room. The other senior officers were there too. Tae-hyung had security guards at every door. "Tell us what happened," Ji-won said. Captain Lee took a deep breath. 15 years ago, we were mining in the Kepler system. A space storm damaged our ship. We were drifting, dying slowly. Then something found us. What kind of something? A structure, huge, maybe 100 kilometers long. It was old, very old, but it was still working. Lee looked around the room. Everyone was listening carefully. The structure pulled us inside. We thought we were going to die. Instead, we found machines. Lots of machines. They started fixing our ship, but they also started fixing us. "Fixing you how?" Dr. O asked. "Making us better, stronger, smarter." The machines did not ask permission. They just did it. Engineer Soo-young Choi spoke up from her chair. "The place called itself the Forge. It was built by people who died long ago. But their machines kept working, waiting for someone to help." "Help with what?" Ji-won asked. Soo-young looked at Captain Lee. He nodded. "The machines were designed to make primitive species better," she said. "To give them advanced technology. To prepare them." "Prepare them for what?" Medic Dong-yuk Nam answered this time. "For the harvest." The room went quiet. No one liked the sound of that word. "What is the harvest?" Ji-won asked. "The people who built the forge were part of something bigger," Captain Lee said. "A collection of different species from across the galaxy. They called themselves the Collective." "Are they still alive?" "No, but the ones who created the Collective are. They travel from star to star, finding species that have been improved by places like the Forge. Then they collect them." "Collect them for what?" Captain Lee's face went pale. "To add them to the Collective. To take away what makes them special and use it for themselves." Navigator Yoon started crying quietly. "They are coming here," she whispered. "The machines at the Forge sent a signal when they fixed us. They told the harvesters where to find us." "Harvesters?" Tae-hyung asked. "That is what they call themselves," Captain Lee said. "They harvest the best parts of every species they find. Then they move on to find more." Ji-won felt sick. "How long do we have?" "The signal was sent 15 years ago. But space is big. We think maybe 6 months before they arrive." "Can we stop the signal?" "No. It already reached them. They are probably already on their way." Dr. O leaned forward. "Captain, show us what the machines did to you." Captain Lee looked around the room again. Then he stood up and walked to the metal wall. He put his hand on it and closed his eyes. The metal began to change shape, flowing like water around his fingers. Everyone in the room stepped back. Captain Lee opened his eyes and pulled his hand away. The wall was normal again. "How did you do that?" Dr. O asked. "The machines put tiny devices in our bodies. They let us control matter at the smallest level. We can also connect our minds to computer systems and do other things." "What other things?" Soo-young held up her hand. A small ball of light appeared above her palm. It was bright, but did not hurt to look at. "We can make energy from nothing. We can see things that are very far away. We can even slow down time in small areas." The light disappeared. The room was silent except for the sound of people breathing. "This technology," Ji-won said slowly, "it could help us defend Earth." "Yes," Captain Lee said, "but there is a problem. The changes in our bodies are connected to the harvesters. They can track us. They can see what we see. They know we are here." "Can you remove the technology?" "We tried. 2 of our crew members died trying to remove it. The technology is part of us now. We cannot live without it." Tae-hyung spoke up. "So the harvesters know everything about Luna Station? About Earth's defenses?" Captain Lee nodded sadly. "Everything we know, they know." The meeting continued for hours. The crew of the Horizon told their whole story. They described the Forge in detail. They explained how the technology worked. They shared everything they had learned about the harvesters. By the end, everyone in the room understood the truth. Humanity had 6 months to prepare for an enemy that could do impossible things, an enemy that already knew everything about them. But they also had something the enemy might not expect. They had 12 humans who could do impossible things too. Humans who had learned to use alien technology but were still human in their hearts. The question was whether that would be enough. "We need to tell Earth Command," Ji-Wan said. "Yes," Captain Lee agreed. "But Commander, you need to understand something. The harvesters have done this many times before. They have collected hundreds of species. They have never failed." "There is always a first time," Ji-Wan replied. Captain Lee smiled for the first time since returning. "That is what I hoped you would say. That is why we came back. Humans do not give up easily." "No," Ji-Wan said, looking around the room at his officers. "We do not." The news spread across human space like fire in a dry forest. Within hours of the first transmission from Luna Station, every Earth colony knew about the Horizon's return. Within days, everyone knew about the harvesters. Admiral Jamin Yu sat in the Great Council chamber on Earth, looking at the faces of humanity's leaders. Some looked scared. Others looked angry. All of them looked worried. 6 months, he said to the room. That is what the Horizon crew believes we have. Counselor Minji Han stood up. She was young for a council member, but everyone respected her sharp mind. "Admiral, we need to see this technology for ourselves. If these people really can do what they claim, we need to study it." "Study it for what?" asked General Woojin Kang. "To make more weapons? We do not even know if our weapons will work against these harvesters." "That is exactly why we need to study it," Minji replied. "We need every advantage we can get." Dr. Ji-Ho Shin raised his hand. He was Earth's best scientist, the man who had helped develop faster-than-light travel. "I have been looking at the data from Luna Station. This technology does not follow any physical laws we know." "What do you mean?" Admiral Yu asked. "I mean it should not work, but it does. The crew can change the basic forces of nature. They can make energy appear from empty space. They can slow down time itself." The room buzzed with quiet conversations. Everyone was trying to understand what this meant. "How is that possible?" Counselor Han asked. "I do not know," Dr. Shin admitted, "but I want to find out. We are bringing the Horizon to Earth. My team will work with the crew to understand their abilities." General Kang stood up. He was a big man with scars on his face from old battles. "While you scientists play with impossible technology, I will prepare our military. If these harvesters want to fight, we will give them one." "General," Admiral Yu said, "the Horizon crew says the harvesters have collected hundreds of species. They have technology from all of them. What makes you think we can win?" "Because we are human," General Kang replied. "We do not surrender." The debate went on for hours. Some people wanted to try talking to the harvesters. Others wanted to hide and hope the aliens would not find them. But most agreed with General Kang. If the harvesters wanted to collect humanity, they would have to fight for it. 2 weeks later, the Horizon arrived at Earth. Dr. Ji-Ho Shin met the crew at the orbital station above Earth's capital city. With him was his best student, a young woman named Yuna Ko. "Dr. Shin," Captain Lee said as they shook hands, "we are ready to teach you everything we know." "Good. But first, I need to understand something. You said the technology is connected to the harvesters. How connected?" Engineer Su-Yung stepped forward. "Very connected, Doctor. Everything we see, they can see. Everything we learn, they learn," Yuna spoke up. "Then how can we use it against them? If they know everything we know, we cannot surprise them. That is the problem we need to solve," Captain Lee said. They went to Dr. Shin's laboratory. It was a huge room filled with machines and computers. The walls were covered with equations and diagrams. "Show me what you can do," Dr. Shin said. Captain Lee walked to a metal table. He put his hands on it and concentrated. The metal began to flow like liquid, changing into different shapes. First a cup, then a flower, then a small bird that seemed almost alive. "How does it feel when you do that?" Dr. Shin asked. "Like the metal is part of me, like I can feel every tiny piece of it." Dr. Shin made notes on his computer. "What else can you do?" Soo-young held up her hand. Light began to dance between her fingers, forming patterns in the air. "I can create energy fields. I can also connect my mind to any computer system." "Connect how?" She walked to one of Dr. Shin's computers and placed her hand on it. The screen immediately showed things that should have been impossible to access. Secret files, protected systems, even computers on other planets. "I can see through any electronic device," she said. "Cameras, sensors, communication networks, all of them." Dr. Shin and Yuna exchanged looks. This was beyond anything they had imagined. "There is more," said Dong-yuk the medic. He took a small knife and cut his arm. Blood flowed for a moment, then stopped. The wound closed and healed completely in seconds. "We heal very fast now," he explained. "We also think much faster than before, and we do not get tired the same way." Dr. Shin spent the next month studying the crew. He ran hundreds of tests and recorded everything. Yuna worked with the crew members individually, learning how they controlled their abilities. "Doctor," Yuna said one day, "I think I understand something important." They were in his office, looking at weeks of test results. "What is it?" "The technology is not just in their bodies. It is talking to something far away, sending information and receiving commands." Dr. Shin looked at the data she was showing him. "You think it is still connected to the harvesters?" "Yes, but maybe we can change that connection." "How?" "What if we could trick the technology? Make it think the harvesters are somewhere else? Or make it send wrong information?" Dr. Shin thought about this. That might work, but it would be very dangerous. If we make a mistake, we could hurt the crew members. Or we could give humanity a chance to win. They worked for weeks on Yuna's idea. It was difficult and dangerous work. The alien technology did not want to be changed. It fought them every step of the way. Finally, they were ready to try. Captain Lee volunteered to be the first test subject. "Are you sure about this?" Dr. Shin asked. "If this goes wrong, you could die." "Doctor," Captain Lee said, "if we do nothing, all of humanity will die. I am willing to take the risk." They put Captain Lee in a special chamber filled with medical equipment. Dr. Shin and Yuna controlled the process from outside. "Beginning." "The procedure," Dr. Shin said. Energy flowed through the chamber. Captain Lee screamed as the alien technology in his body fought against the changes. The machine showed his heart stopping and starting again several times. After an hour that felt like a day, it was over. Captain Lee opened his eyes. "How do you feel?" Dr. Shin asked. Captain Lee sat up slowly. He held up his hand and tried to create light like Soo-young could do. Nothing happened. "I cannot feel the connection anymore," he said. "The technology is still there, but it is quiet." "Good," Yuna said. "That means the harvesters cannot track you anymore." Captain Lee tried to change the shape of a metal cup on the table. The metal moved, but slowly and with great effort. "The abilities are weaker," he said, "but they still work," Dr. Shin pointed out. "And now you control them completely." They repeated the procedure with the rest of the Horizon crew. It worked every time, though each person reacted differently. Some kept most of their abilities, others lost almost everything, but they were all free from the harvester's control. "Now we can fight back," Captain Lee said when it was all over. "Yes," Dr. Shin agreed. "But we need more than 12 people with alien technology. We need an army." "Can you make more?" Yuna asked. Dr. Shin looked at his notes. The procedure was dangerous, but it could be done. "Yes, but many people will die trying," The human body is not designed for this technology. How many will survive? Maybe 1 in 10. The room went quiet. That meant 9 people would die for everyone who gained the abilities. We need volunteers, Captain Lee said finally. We need heroes, Dr. Shin corrected. Within a week, they had more volunteers than they could handle. Soldiers, scientists, pilots, and ordinary citizens all wanted to help defend humanity. They all knew the risks, but they volunteered anyway. The first group of volunteers went through the procedure. 7 people died. 3 survived and gained abilities similar to the Horizon crew. It was a terrible price to pay, but it was working. Slowly, carefully, they were building an army of enhanced humans who could fight the Harvesters with their own technology. But time was running out. The Harvesters would arrive in 3 months, and humanity was still not ready for them. The training center on Mars had become humanity's most important place. Every day, new volunteers arrived to try the enhancement procedure. Every day, most of them died. Sunwoo Lim stood in the medical bay, waiting for his turn. He was a pilot in the Earth Defense Force, one of the best. But being a good pilot might not be enough anymore. Dr. Haeun Jung checked his medical charts one more time. She had taken over the enhancement program after Dr. Shin returned to Earth to work on weapons development. "Are you ready?" she asked. Sunwoo nodded. "My family is on Earth. If these harvesters want to take them, they will have to go through me first." "The survival rate is still very low," Dr. Jung warned. "Only 12% of people survive the procedure. Better than 0% if I do nothing." Dr. Jung led him to the enhancement chamber. It looked like a metal coffin filled with wires and tubes. Sunwoo had watched other volunteers go into chambers like this. Most never came out alive. "Remember," Dr. Jung said, "do not fight the technology. Let it change you. The people who survive are the ones who accept the changes." Sunwoo lay down in the chamber. The lid closed above him and everything went dark. Pain hit him like lightning. Every cell in his body felt like it was on fire. The alien technology was trying to rewrite his DNA to change him into something new. His first instinct was to fight it. But he remembered Dr. Jung's words. He stopped fighting and let the technology work. Hours passed, or maybe days. Time meant nothing in the chamber. Finally, the pain stopped. The lid opened and light flooded in. "How do you feel?" Dr. Jung asked. Sunwoo sat up carefully. Everything looked different. He could see energy patterns in the walls, in the machines, even in Dr. Jung herself. It was like seeing a new color that had no name. "Strange," he said. "But good." He held up his hand and thought about creating light. A small flame appeared in his palm, blue and perfect. "Welcome to the Enhanced," Dr. Jung said with a smile. The training began immediately. The enhanced humans had to learn to control their new abilities. Quickly. Time was running out. Captain Lee worked with the new volunteers every day. "The most important thing," he told them, "is not to think like humans anymore. The technology responds to will and intention, not logic." "What do you mean?" Sunwoo asked. "Watch." Captain Lee looked at a metal bar across the room. The bar began to bend and twist without him touching it. "I did not think about the physics of bending metal. I just wanted it to bend. And it did." Sunwoo tried the same thing. He stared at another metal bar and wanted it to change shape. Nothing happened. "You are thinking too much," Captain Lee said. "Feel what you want. Do not think it." It took weeks, but slowly Sunwoo and the other new enhanced began to understand. The alien technology did not work like human machines. It worked like magic, responding to emotion and desire more than logic and planning. Meanwhile, on Earth, the military was preparing in more traditional ways. General Kang had ordered every ship in the Earth Defense Force to be armed with the most powerful weapons humanity had ever built. Kyungmin Seo, the chief strategic officer, stood in the command center looking at displays showing ship positions throughout the solar system. There were thousands of vessels, from huge battleships to small fighters. It was the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled. "Will it be enough?" General Kong asked. "Against a normal enemy, yes," Kyung-min replied. "But the harvesters are not normal. What do our enhanced people say?" "Captain Lee believes the harvesters will have ships that can phase through solid matter. They can appear anywhere without warning. Our traditional weapons might not even be able to hit them." General Kang frowned. "Then what good is this fleet?" "It is what we have," Kyung-min said. "And humans have won impossible battles before." Strange things were happening throughout the solar system. Pilots reported seeing huge shadows moving through empty space. Sometimes their instruments showed massive objects that were not there when they looked with their eyes. Navigator Yunbi from the Horizon crew studied these reports. She had become an expert on harvester technology during her time at the forge. "They are scouting us," she told the command staff, "sending small probes to study our defenses." "Can we stop them?" Admiral Yu asked. "No. They exist partially outside normal space. We cannot see them properly and we cannot hurt them." "So they know everything about our preparations?" "Yes, but that might not matter." "Why not?" Yunbi smiled sadly. "Because they have done this so many times before, they think they know how every species will react. They expect us to be afraid and confused. They do not expect us to fight back effectively." "Are they right?" "We will find out soon." On a hidden research station near Jupiter, Dr. Unico was working on humanity's most desperate plan. She called it Operation Seedling. The idea was simple but terrible. If Earth fell to the harvesters, enhanced humans would scatter throughout the galaxy. They would hide on distant planets and slowly rebuild human civilization. How many people? "Can we save this way?" Admiral Yu asked during a secret meeting. "Maybe 1,000, Yuna replied. "Scattered across 50 different star systems. It would take the harvesters centuries to find them all. And the billions of people on Earth?" Yuna looked away. "They would be lost." It was not a good plan, but it was better than complete extinction. Ships were prepared in secret, loaded with enhanced humans and everything they would need to start. New colonies. Nobody talked about Operation Seedling openly. It was too depressing to think about. Instead, everyone focused on the main defense plan. When the harvesters arrived, humanity would hit them with everything they had. Traditional weapons, enhanced humans, and surprise tactics that hopefully the aliens would not expect. The enhanced humans were the key to everything. By now, there were almost 200 of them. Each one could do things that seemed impossible. They could control machines with their thoughts, manipulate matter at the atomic level, and move through space in ways that defied physics. But they were still learning. The alien technology was vast and complex, with capabilities they had not even discovered yet. "Look at this," Soo-young said to Sunwoo during a training session. She placed her hand on a computer terminal and closed her eyes. Suddenly, every screen in the room showed the same image, a view of space from a probe near Pluto. "I can connect to any electronic device in the solar system," she explained. "Cameras, sensors, even communication networks. It is like having eyes everywhere." "That could be very useful in battle," Sunwoo said. "Yes, but there is something else." Her voice became worried. "Sometimes, when I connect to distant systems, I see things that should not be there." "What kind of things?" "Shadows, moving through empty space, getting closer to Earth every day." The harvesters were coming, and they were not waiting for their deadline. They would arrive weeks earlier than expected. Time was almost up. Captain Lee gathered all the enhanced humans for a final meeting. They stood in a circle in the training center, 200 people who had volunteered to become something more than human. "In a few days, we will face an enemy that has never been defeated," he said. "They have collected hundreds of species across the galaxy. They expect us to surrender or die quickly." He looked around the circle at faces that showed Fear, but also determination. But they have never faced humans before. They do not understand what makes us different. We do not give up. We do not surrender. And we do not go quietly into the dark. "What makes you think we can win?" asked one of the newer enhanced. Captain Lee smiled. "Because I have seen what humans can do when they decide something is worth fighting for. We might not win, but we will make them pay a price they never expected." The circle of enhanced humans stood quietly for a moment, thinking about what was coming. Then one by one they began to glow with inner light. Not because they wanted to show off their abilities, but because they were ready to fight for their species. The harvest was coming, but humanity would not be easy prey. The alarms began screaming at dawn on Mars. Every human settlement in the solar system heard the same terrible sound. The harvesters had arrived. Fleet Admiral Insu Bay stood on the bridge of the New Horizon, humanity's most advanced warship. Through the main window he could see them coming. Huge shapes moved through space like living mountains, bigger than cities and darker than night. "How many ships?" he asked his communications officer. "We count 50 major vessels, sir. Each one is at least 10 kilometers long." Insu felt his heart sink. 50 ships that size could destroy Earth's entire fleet without breaking stride. But humanity was not backing down. "Send the message to all ships," he ordered. "Today we fight. For our species. Today we show the galaxy that humans do not surrender." Throughout the solar system, Earth Defense Force ships moved into battle positions. There were 3,000 human vessels, from massive battleships to small fighters. It was still not enough, but it was what they had. The enhanced humans were spread throughout the fleet. Captain Lee commanded a special squadron of ships crewed entirely by enhanced people. Sunwoo piloted one of the fastest fighters, his new abilities letting him fly in ways that should have been impossible. On Earth, Dr. Unico watched the battle begin from the command center. She had one hand on the controls for Operation Seedling. If the battle went badly, she would send the seed ships away to carry human civilization to distant stars. The harvester ships moved closer. They did not seem to be in any hurry. Why should they be? They had done this hundreds of times before. Then something strange happened. The lead harvester ship sent a message. It appeared on every screen in the human fleet at once. The voice was not one voice, but many, speaking in perfect unison. "People of Earth, you have been chosen for the harvest. Surrender your enhanced individuals, and your species will be preserved. Resist, and you will be destroyed." Admiral Insu grabbed his communication microphone. "This is Fleet Admiral Bay of the Earth Defense Force. Our answer is no. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your resistance is pointless. Maybe. But we are going to try anyway." The first human ships opened fire. Lasers and missiles streaked through space toward the harvester vessels. Most of the weapons passed right through the alien ships as if they were not there. But some of the weapons hit. The harvesters had not expected human weapons to be enhanced with their own technology. Dr. Shin had spent months figuring out how to make human missiles phase into the same dimension as the harvester ships. One of the smaller alien vessels exploded in a ball of fire. The harvesters had taken their first loss in thousands of years. "All ships, concentrate fire on the lead vessel," Admiral Insu ordered. The human fleet fired everything they had. The space between Earth and the harvesters filled with weapon fire. Some shots missed, some passed through empty space, but others found their targets. The harvesters began to fight back. Beams of energy shot from their ships, energy that could reach through multiple dimensions at once. Human ships exploded or simply vanished, removed from existence entirely. Captain Lee's squadron moved in close to the enemy fleet. The enhanced crews could do things that normal humans could not. They phased their ships partially out of normal space, making them harder to hit. They fired weapons powered by their own life energy, weapons that could hurt enemies in any dimension. Sunwoo flew his fighter through the middle of the battle. His enhanced senses let him see the harvester ships. Clearly, even when they were partially phased, he could also see something else. The ships were not just machines, they were alive. "Captain Lee," he called over the radio, "the ships are biological. They are living creatures." "Are you sure? I can see their life energy. They are like huge space whales, but made of metal and circuits. This changed everything. Living creatures could be hurt in ways that machines could not." Engineer Su Yung was aboard the New Horizon, connected to every sensor in the human fleet. Through her enhanced abilities, she could see the entire battle at once. "Admiral," she said, "I am reading something strange. The harvester ships are all connected to each other, like a network." "Connected how?" "Telepathically. They share thoughts and memories. That is why they move so perfectly together." Admiral Insu thought about this. "If they are all connected, what happens if we disrupt the connection?" "I do not know. But it might be worth trying." Dr. Yuna Ko had an idea. From Earth, she sent a message to all the enhanced humans in the fleet. "Listen carefully," she said. "The harvesters use a collective mind. All their thoughts flow together. But human thoughts are chaotic and individual. What if we could inject human consciousness into their network?" Captain Lee understood immediately. "You want us to connect to their minds?" "Yes, but not to join them, to disrupt them, to fill their collective thoughts with human chaos and individuality. It was incredibly dangerous. Connecting to the Harvester network might destroy the enhanced humans' minds." But the battle was going badly. Half the human fleet was already destroyed. "I will try it first," Captain Lee said. He closed his eyes and reached out with his enhanced abilities. He could feel the vast network of harvester minds, all thinking the same thoughts, all sharing the same goals. He pushed his consciousness into their network. The effect was immediate. The harvester ships began to move erratically. Their perfect coordination was broken. Some ships fired on their own allies by mistake, but the strain on Captain Lee was enormous. His ship's crew watched as he screamed in pain, his mind fighting against the alien collective. "I cannot hold it," he gasped. "There are too many of them." "You do not have to hold it alone," Sunwoo said over the radio. "We are all here." One by one, the other enhanced humans joined the mental attack. 200 human minds pushed into the harvester network, bringing chaos and individuality to a system built on perfect order. The alien ships began to fall apart. Some simply stopped moving. Others turned on each other, confused and angry. The collective mind that had served the harvesters for millions of years was breaking down. On the largest harvester ship, something ancient and terrible began to wake up. The true masters of the harvest, being so old they had forgotten their original forms. They had been sleeping while their collected species did the work for them. Now they woke up angry. The largest ship began to glow with power that made the human weapons look like flashlights. It was preparing to destroy the entire solar system. Rather than lose control of the situation, "All ships retreat," Admiral Insu ordered. "Get away from that thing." But it was too late. The weapon was charging, and nothing could stop it, except for one thing. Captain Lee made a decision that would save his species and damn his soul. Instead of trying to disrupt the harvester network, he began to absorb it. He pulled the consciousness of every collected species into his own mind. "What are you doing?" Su Yung called out. "Saving everyone," he replied. The strain was killing him. His body began to glow and then to dissolve as his consciousness expanded beyond physical form. But as he absorbed more of the network, he gained control over the harvester ships. One by one, the alien vessels stopped their attack. The great weapon powered down. The ships that had been preparing to destroy Earth instead turned and began to fly away. Captain Lee had become something new. Not human, not harvester, but something in between. He controlled the fleet now, but the effort was destroying him. "Go," he told the human fleet through the radio. His voice sounded strange, echoing with 1,000 different species. I will take them far away. They will not bother Earth again. Captain, what about you? Sunwoo asked. I am not Captain Lee anymore. I am something else now. Something that needs to keep these ships away from innocent people. The Harvester fleet began to move away from Earth. As they left, Captain Lee's voice came one last time over the radio. Tell them we won. Tell them humans do not surrender. Then the ships disappeared into deep space, carrying with them the consciousness of a man who had sacrificed everything to save his species. The battle was over. Earth was safe, but the cost had been enormous. Thousands of ships destroyed, hundreds of thousands of people dead, and one man lost to save them all. In the weeks that followed, humanity began to rebuild. The enhanced humans who survived became the guardians of human space, watching for new threats. The technology they had gained was used carefully, with respect for what it had cost. Dr. Yuna Ko canceled Operation Seedling. The seed ships were converted into exploration vessels instead, carrying humans to new worlds not as refugees, but as explorers. The galaxy now knew that Earth was the planet that had broken the harvest. Some species welcomed humans as liberators. Others feared them as the ones who had upset the ancient order. But humanity did not care what others thought. They had faced extinction and survived. They had been told to surrender and had refused. They had shown the galaxy what it meant to be human, and somewhere in deep space, in a ship that traveled between dimensions, Captain Minho Lee continued his eternal watch. He was no longer human, but he remembered what it had been like. He remembered the feeling of refusing to give up, even when everything seemed hopeless. That memory kept him going as he guided the Harvester fleet away from inhabited worlds, protecting a galaxy that would never know his name. The harvest was over. Humanity had won, and the price of victory would be remembered forever.